actually sell. I'm Steve Sisto, a marketing specialist here at 52 Launch, and I am joined by Mike Koshko, our paid media specialist. Mike, thank you so much for joining me.
Of course. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Before we jump in, an introduction on 52 Launch. We are an all-in-one product development agency that handles every aspect of the process, from design to prototyping to manufacturing to marketing, everything that you can think of through our innovative 6-spoke accelerator program. So if you are an entrepreneur who wants to get a product made, who wants to get a product to market, and wants a product that makes money, 52 Launch is the way to go. As part of this webinar, we will be discussing everything that you need to know about building a paid media strategy for your product that drives sales. So Mike, when we're talking about ads, there's a big difference between ads that get clicks and ads that actually get sales. So at a high level, what separates the two?
Sure. Yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs think ads are really just about the clicks. And you can think of this as like a full funnel. So at the top of a funnel, you have clicks, brand awareness, top view metrics, how many views, impressions, reach. And then you have the middle of funnel, which is kind of like people who are adding your product to a cart, or they're deep on your website in multiple pages, or they're reading your blog posts. And then there's like bottom of funnel, which are people actually making the purchase. So they're adding to cart, initiating the checkout, and then they're making the purchase. So think of like the top of funnel as clicks is equaling curiosity, right? They're just interested. And then the middle funnel is kind of people who want to take the next step. Maybe it's maybe there's a message in your ad that's actually resonating with people. So they're like, oh, wow, this sounds like me. But maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's it's not the right price point. It is just a matter of they didn't get the full benefit or full value. And then the bottom of the funnel are like people who are like, okay, this is the product for me. I'm not only just interested, but like this is the right time, and I make the purchase. So really to break down all those funnel points. So the winning combo would be something like a strong hook. A hook is within the first, in these days of age, 2 or 3 seconds, that's all you got. That hook really has to hook them in, speak to them, to that specific audience, and it has to be something like a problem that they currently have. And then there is the clear problem, and then you have the solution to it. So you get the hook, the clear problem that you're solving for, and then the seamless path to the purchase, which is basically it makes it easy for someone to purchase. Maybe it's a credit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay. You're making it super easy, and especially it's optimized on your mobile device, which is great. So again, proper ads that actually sell have a hook. They outline a clear problem, they have a solution, and then there's a seamless path. It makes it easy to purchase. And really just ads that get clicks are something like brand awareness or top level. It doesn't have all those aspects to it.
And when you're talking about specific hooks that address problems and solve those problems, what are some angles that consistently work?
Yes. So I would say angles that consistently work are lifestyle angles. Maybe it's something where people see the product in their own life, or they can see themselves in it. It's almost like staging a home, right? So you're staging a home, you can see yourself living, or in this case, it's a product. You can see yourself using the product. You have that problem in your real life, and then you're like, oh, if I had this product, I would be able to, solve this problem in my life, and it'd just be either, make me happier, more efficient. Again, making sure that the problem is solved by this product. So I think the lifestyle is one angle. Another angle is like the clear problem and then the clear solution. And then another angle is kind of like, think of it like curiosity. So your ad angles are more curiosity driven, as in like, oh, I wonder if that product might actually either solve my problem or improve my life in some way.
So Mike, you make paid media sound extremely simple and easy. And I'm sure a lot of people who are watching are thinking it can't possibly be that easy. And so when you're dealing with clients, what are some of the mistakes that they often make starting out, where maybe they went into it with the wrong concept or the wrong execution? And then how do you get them on the right track?
Yeah. So I would say the biggest problem that I've seen on ecom is maybe not the full experience. Let me break that down. So when you're running ads to a product, a lot of times you think of just the ad. It's siloed. You're just thinking of like, how do I make a great ad? And then you're kind of making that great ad. But even if you have an ad that converts, that drives traffic to your website and to your product, you kind of miss the mark because maybe your landing page isn't right, or your PDP, as in product detail page on your website, doesn't really gel well with the ad that you're running. So you could have a killer ad that drives high CTR or click-through rate, drives people to your website and to your product, but then you can lose them easily by not converting them because it doesn't like gently tell them from the ad level to the product page the same kind of messaging. So something you have to think about is like, okay, if you have a great product page, then your ad has to be the same way. So the same messaging has to be on your ad and on your product page. And which is really, really hard to do because a lot of product pages, you think of, okay, I have to have this one specific angle on the product page, and then I have to have one single ad. And really what you can do is you can have all of that all on the product page and all the same messages on different ads. So you have like 5 different ads, 5 different angles. And then on your product page, you make sure you have those 5 different ads or 5 different angles that actually coerce with each other.
So how exactly do you balance that? How do you say, I want 5 different campaigns to target 5 different sets of people, but they all need to tie in back to my product? How do you make that work seamlessly?
Yeah, so it starts off with what I love to call is a strategy, outlining literally on a piece of paper or Google Sheet or any other kind of document, but figuring out what you want to accomplish in terms of like, okay, here's my product, here are the problems it solves, and then outlining, maybe give it like 3 to 5 angles. That's what I usually start with. I'm like, okay, this is going to be 3 to 5 angles with 3 to 5 hooks that are going to push people to the product page. And then what you do is you make sure all 5 of those are on the product page. So when you're writing that product page, making sure that like, okay, it has angle 1, it has angle 2, or benefit 2, benefit 3. And a lot of the times, like, it sounds really, really complicated, but if you just write down that simple, again, structure of having the 3 to 5 creative angles and then having the 3 to 5 angles on your product page, it really is that simple. A lot of times, though, in Facebook ads, for example, you can get overwhelmed by different options. And one thing to keep in mind about audiences is you don't have to start off with every single audience. You can start off really broad. A lot of the campaigns that are successful here at 52 Launch actually are the broad audience, meaning it's everyone, let's just call it in the United States, who are 25 to 55, who resonate with the ad angle, the actually creative, the image or video, and then they see the product on the product page on your website, and they're like, okay, this makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. And so say there's a client out there, they just put in a production order, they have 1,000 units sitting in the warehouse, they got product to move. What's the first thing that they should do in their first 30 or 60 days to get their paid media strategy off the ground?
Sure, yeah. Making sure that there's a product market fit, of course. Like there's a lot of research that goes in on the back end, but marrying that product market fit to the messaging. So making sure that like that market that you're talking about with those specific problems or are looking for those specific benefits out of your product, figuring out who is this for, what problem does it actually solve, and then making sure those PDP or product detail page actually has a clear headline, a clear subheadline, the outline of the benefits, the social proof, trust, reviews, etc. And a lot of times when you're starting off with these ad campaigns, it's very overwhelming because there's so much to do and you're trying to shove so much information on one specific ad or a few specific ads to one specific product page. So don't overcomplicate it, keep it simple, create your angles, and then create your ads that resonate with those angles. And then on your product page, make sure those are all the same. It should all flow seamlessly.
And say there's a client out there who maybe doesn't have the money that a large business has to spend thousands, if not millions, on paid media. Say they have a more of a limited budget. What's the strategy then? How do they still stretch that money as far as possible to get sales?
This is a classic issue that I come across all the time. I mean, I deal with small budgets all the time. I've had many years of experience with that. I would say don't overcomplicate it, as I've already mentioned, but keep it super simple. The audience should be one audience, probably should be a broad audience or an interest-based audience, as in if you have a golf product, it should be a golf interest, or it should just be a broad audience. Just pick one or the other. What's nice is the algorithms are so powerful. They have so much data that they do a lot of the work for you. You're just trying to set it up correctly in the first place. So having that strategy, then having the creative angles, then making sure your product page fits with those ad angles, honestly, is 75% of the work. The other piece is on a limited budget. Limited budgets are very difficult because you're looking for a specific cost per action or cost per purchase. So you don't want to spend too much money trying to acquire those people to buy your product, of course. So the first thing is to look for signals on Meta, for example, that tell you that a lot of people are seeing your ad and they're clicking through. And those are the winning ads. And you can honestly, you could spend very little money knowing that within the first 7 days, and then turning off things that don't work in your ad campaign, and then leaving on the things that are actually working. And then you can duplicate the things that are working and just make different angles. You can, change the text on the headline, or change the text on the description or the primary text in the ad, and play with like creative angles there, or just wording or copy. So yeah, that's the biggest headache that I see a lot of people have, is just how do I stretch a limited budget? And limited budgets always get eaten up so fast because people spread too much creative on too many different audiences. So keep it simple. One audience, 3 to 5 creative angles, and you'll be surprised at the sales that are coming in.
Well, so let's dive a bit deeper into that. How do you balance maybe trying out a bunch of different campaigns, throwing a lot at the wall, seeing what sticks, versus let's dive really deep into maybe 2 or 3 core campaigns, focus all of my efforts there? How do you figure out, first of all, how do you figure out what's the right campaign for you? And then how do you test and refine from there?
Yeah, there's so many aspects to that. It's always hard to answer, but I'll say this. The most important thing to know is your product. You got to know your product inside and out, what the problem it's solving, the market fit. And then with that, knowing years of experience, how much of an ad budget you have, and then figuring out like, okay, if I spread too far, too thin, how quickly can I see results? I would say lots of signals like click-through rate, impressions, ads to cart, people who initiate checkout are all signals, easy signals to look in with specifically, I would say Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram and other platforms. But it tells you that data. So if you just look at the last 7 to 10 days, it'll tell you the click-through rate. Generally, to give stats and numbers, just so people have more tangible numbers to look at, I would say a good click-through rate is anywhere from somewhere between 0.75% to, I would say, 2.5%. That's a good starting point if in the first 7 days. After that, in the next, I would say 10 to 14 days, you're looking for anywhere between 2 to 4%. Anything in the 2 to 4% you keep, anything less than that you kill or you turn off. That's a quick way to make sure that your ad dollars are spent very efficiently, and making sure that you're only pushing forward winners or winning ads. And also to keep in mind is if you don't have any winners that are more than 1.5% click-through rate in your ad campaign, is to make sure that you have backup creative angles to keep that campaign running and to replace those creatives.
So let's talk patience and let's talk timeline. First 30 days of a campaign, what is a realistic result for a product just getting off the ground and into the market?
Yes. So the first 30 days are the most stressful because you're starting off your campaign. You don't know what's going to happen. Things could go really well and things could go really wrong. If you've done your homework, you know your product, you know your product market fit, you know your price, your COGS, the competition that are also advertising, which you have to compete with. You also have to know that a lot of the algorithms take a long time to really show results, especially sales. And that's really tough to know as a business owner, an entrepreneur, someone who's created a product and launched it, is you're really expecting those results immediately. You're like, okay, this is the way I'm going to get right to revenue. And a lot of times, I would say within the first 10 to 14 days is a good window of you probably won't get sales. And if you let that sit with you just for a moment and go, okay, I'll deal with that. The next 14 days out of that campaign are going to be driving sales. Again, these algorithms are so complex, but so smart all at the same time. So they do a lot of that work for you. And you're really looking for data signals or click-through rates, impressions, engagement rate, people who are taking action with your ads, maybe not purchasing, but even if you get people to add to cart, they're seeing your product, they're like, hey, this is a great product. I totally get it. I'm adding it to my cart, but they don't initiate checkout. That's a huge signal for me. That means the creative worked, the product page worked. Maybe it's just the price that didn't work, the timing, or it's just they said they were talking to their friend and then they're like, oh, wait, I realized I already have this, or they have one, or there's another product similar to this. So again, just like this first 30 days are really the toughest, but just know that like the sales will come after, but this is really a first time to like understand and test those creative angles to make sure like, okay, cool. These two headlines really resonate with these people. So I'm definitely going to double down on those ones.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk creative a bit more, because as you know, an ad is some words, a picture. It's so easy that anybody can do it. Obviously, of course I'm kidding. So what makes a good creative ad that actually gets eyeballs, gets clicks, and gets sales?
Yeah, I think we all know that we live in a world where we have 1.5 seconds to really get someone's attention or less. So I would say something that's going to grab someone's attention. Thumb stopping, thumb scrolling, out of the blue, abrupt, almost like it's not what you expect. And these kind of things can be really, really simple, but they can also be like a little bit more complex. In other words, in the beginning of your ad, it could be just you adjusting the camera, just recording you, but just adjusting the camera for that first, 1.5 seconds. Or it could be something that's like a sound, an audio, file, or an audio sound. Maybe it's music, or it's like a big boom, just to get someone's attention, just for them to stop. We live in a world where just everything's instant gratification, and we're competing with each other, especially in the ad space and products. And there's so many products on the market. So that's the first thing, is really just to get someone's attention. But you can get someone's attention by also using really big hooks. Maybe it's text on the screen. So if you're doing a video, like a big text, like oversize, just think bigger, the better in the first 1.5 seconds. That's really just how to get someone's attention, especially if you're trying to get, specific, those people in those specific audiences. Like if there's that problem, lay it right out. Don't beat around the bush. Just get right to it, right on the nose. Maybe it's satire, maybe it's something sarcastic, etc.
Yeah, because for somebody who knows their product so inside and out, the problem might seem obvious to them, and it's probably obvious to a lot of their target customers. It's just not always front of mind for them. So making an ad that puts that problem front in mind on their Instagram feed, on their TikTok feed, it's a big flashlight, blinking red light saying, buy this product, you need this product right now.
Yeah. Think outside the box. Be very, very creative. That's the nice thing. That first 1.5 seconds, or we'll call it 2 or 3 seconds, you can kind of like go a little bit outlandish. You can be a little bit out there. Something that's really stale or something that is going to blend in well. You don't want to blend in well. You want to stick out like a sore thumb. And as soon as you can do that, the better.
Yeah, it's something we say a lot here. You need 5,000 eyeballs just to get one sale. So if you spend a lot of money for 5,000 reach, but everyone just scrolls right past you, then what's even the point?
Yeah.
So the better the hook, the better the problem that you can tell and then solve. That's how you make an ad that works.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also one of the other benefits of doing that is you immediately get more people's attention, but maybe the people that you're getting the attention might not convert, but at least you're getting their attention. And then you're knowing, okay, the ad works. It gets their attention, stops the scroll, which is awesome, but then they're not converting. So maybe it's not the right audience. So then you can kind of make adjustments there, but at least you're getting their attention. So then you can use that first 1, 2, or 3 seconds of getting someone's attention and use that on the next creative, and then change the angles of the creative. So there's a lot of science in there, and that's what I live on in the back end on. It's just trying to figure out this creative art and then the science of it.
And so coupling that with what you said earlier about those first 10 to 14 days, you probably won't see a sale, but there's still a lot of data coming in that you can learn from and then pivot based off of. So how important is, you're looking at that dashboard and the sales number isn't going up, but a bunch of other numbers are bouncing and jumping around. So what can you learn from those numbers that then you can pivot to after those first 10 to 14 days?
Yeah. So again, I love CTR. It's a great indicator of the percentage of the impressions, which is like how many people actually saw your ad versus who actually clicked through. So like the amount of eyeballs, as you were saying, right? 100,000 people or 5,000 people, whatever the number is, the impressions, but how many people actually clicked through. It's a very different world that we're living in, where we know, especially Meta's been around over 20 years. So we know exactly what ads look like ads and what don't. We know exactly how to scroll. We can scroll, a millimeter at a time. And so it's just a behavior that we've all learned over time. So just knowing, like, you can get people's attention, but like, what is the click-through rate? If the click-through rate is, again, over, 2, 3, 4, the creative works. And that's a huge signal for me. That means, okay, I can double down on that, or I can splice that into multiple different other creatives or multiple different creative angles, or change the copy and test different things. So again, click-through rate is a huge indicator on what is successful in terms of your ad campaign. And again, like, you can have like 12 or 15 creatives. I can guarantee probably 3 or 4 are actually going to be winners. And that's okay. That means you shut down all the other things that aren't working, and then you keep on the ones that are, and then you can duplicate those ones, and then you can make different angles from there.
Knowing what doesn't work is almost just as helpful as knowing what does work, because then you can just throw it away, ignore it to some degree, and just dive headfirst into what you have found is a proven strategy.
Absolutely. There are multiple brands online that have generated hundreds of thousands of dollars who only are running about 3 or 4 actual creatives that are driving most of the sales, which is wild to think of.
And so someone might say, why would I spend all of my paid media strategy on 80% that I'm going to end up throwing away down the road? What's the benefit of doing that?
Yeah, so definitely the benefit is to know what angles don't work, so you never use them again. And that can be not just on your ads. The ads can also inform your email marketing. It can inform your SMS marketing. It can inform your main website, your product page. It can inform multitude of other advertising avenues that you do, as well as organic, your sales pitches. Maybe you're going to find some wholesalers or manufacturers, or you're working with different local venues. Those are really important factors to know what doesn't work. Because really what you want to know is, what are the 2 or 3 things that are going to work? And let me double down on those. Yeah.
So you've mentioned some things like click-through rate and other factors and strategies that are important, but across your entire career, not only here at 52 Launch, but your very extensive career in paid media. What are some of the other things that people often overlook that they shouldn't, that actually help drive performance?
Yeah, this is a huge one. I find this always to be the case with a lot of new products. We always think of products as very two-dimensional. Two-dimensional meaning we see the product as we created it. So we saw the problem, but maybe it's not a big enough problem, or we don't know exactly how to word the problem or explain the problem that other people would resonate with. And so really what it comes down to on the product page is the offer. What is the offer? What are you offering somebody? Are you offering them the solution to the problem that you have or that they have? Are you offering, is the offer good enough? Meaning maybe there's not a bundle. Maybe they would buy 2 or 3. They're more apt to do that. Or maybe it's in a kit. Your product is part of a multitude of a multi-product kit. Or there's complementary products. There's free shipping, free returns. There's a money-back guarantee. There are over 1,000 people who have trusted it and given reviews, or there's 415 reviews, or it's a 4.8 star out of 5. Or there are things like bundles, discounts. Maybe there's a welcome discount that you offer. There's any kind of guarantees, like the entire offer. So don't just think of the product as the product. Think of what somebody is going to compel someone to take action to actually purchase it. So there's definitely a huge benefit onto understanding not just what the ad does, but what the ad offers. So the ad should really talk about the problem, the solution, the benefits, but the product page should really focus on the offer. What are you offering somebody when they make this purchase? What is it worth to them?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And before we sign off, Mike, for anyone running paid ads right now, whether they've been doing it for 10 years or they're just getting started today, what is the one piece of advice that you would say you have to do that today?
Yeah, I would focus on the simplistic version of your ad campaign. So let's start with the product. What the product is, what are the benefits? What are the things that it solves, or what are the problems it solves? The message that you want to resonate with these people, that you want to send them. The actual creative. Is it a video? Is it a explainer video? What kind of video is it? Is it long? Is it low quality, high quality? Is it a static image? Is it a white box product shot? Is it a lifestyle shot? Every ad campaign is going to be completely different. But and then the last thing would be the landing page itself. So as long as you kind of figure out those fundamentals, the product, the message, the creative, and the landing page, and just focus on those things, your ad dollars are going to be spent very efficiently because you've solved those 4 spokes or 4 pieces of making sure your campaign is super successful. And there's not a whole lot of hacks or tricks or over optimization. You can spend a lot of time on that, but that will eat up your time, and you'll almost overanalyze yourself by doing it. So my thing is just keep it simple, focus on those 4 fundamentals, and the simple campaigns are probably the most successful. The complex are done poorly. They're a mess, and it's hard to maintain over a long period of time. So set yourself up for success. Yeah. Keep it simple. Keep the campaign really, really simple, and don't spend a lot of money and time on it. Just make sure that you have those 4 fundamentals, and I think you're off to a good start.
Something my dad always said: if something feels more complicated than it should be, probably is.
So true.
That was perfect. Mike Koshko, best paid media guy in the business. If you want to make money off of products, you got to work with him. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're business minded and you have a product idea that you want to bring to market, most importantly, make revenue from, then we want to talk to you. You have to come to 52 Launch. You have to work with guys like Mike Koshko here. So go to 52launch.com/contact, book a consultation, talk to one of our idea consultants, and let's partner together to make your product dream a reality. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you on our next Entrepreneur Insights webinar. Thank you.